My fave is problematic. Gwen Stefani, queen of cultural appropriation. She has a couple of these. Like, I'm looking at the low bar here in the watch together. She has a lot of videos that are complaining about this, about music. Okay. How stupid is she gonna be?
It's me, Kim. How are you doing? I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. So obviously we're here today to talk about one of my faves of all time, Gwen Stefani. And I decided to do this video not because I have any beef with Gwen. I love her. I love her. But I think it's really important for us to be able to take a step back and view our faves, who are sometimes problematic, as objectively as possible. And I'm not immune from liking stuff that is a little off kilter. So let's dig into Gwen and her long career as a beautiful, very thin, very red.
She is trying really hard to find a lot of adjectives so that she can soften the blow that is like, I have to tear her down now.
I
love her, but she's deeply racist.
This is a no drag zone. So I've loved Gwen Stefani since
This thing that she's doing with her teeth and her lips, where she's like enunciating every single word with her lips and her teeth. It's not a problem with her. It's not a problem with her video. It's just, I noticed this a lot, especially with video essays. I feel like I'm being talked to by an English teacher. You know? Like I'm seeing a lot of teeth for no damn reason.
I was maybe 9 or 10 years old. Ever since I saw her on TRL, that's Total Request Live for Gen Z. And I remember seeing her and being like, oh, like, that's a dope chick. But those of us who love Gwen, love no doubt.
You can't, you're gonna dip. Piper, no! Come back. We need your loving MILF energy. I'm dying here. We just had the ivory. Now we have to take the cringe ebony.
Love Lamb have to be honest about something that is very serious. Our girl is probably one of the most flagrant cultural appropriators in like modern music memory.
Flagrant cultural appropriator. I'm gonna go ahead and say off the fucking bat, start a new fucking note file. Number 1. Cultural appropriation. I can't spell. Cultural appropriation is cultural appreciation. Dead stop. There is no... Well, it's horrible that she chose to do that, because didn't she know better? No. Cultural appropriation is cultural appreciation. Especially when it comes to music. Because who knows where your inspiration for your next album comes from. It doesn't necessarily mean the same thing that some people think it would mean when they say that. Because when some people say cultural appropriation, what they mean to say is, look at this evil person. They didn't have anything interesting about them personally from their own race, so they stole from mine! That's not real. If you think like that, you might want to go to therapy. Like, soon? Very soon. Because it's not real. It's not real if you're white. It's not real if you're black. It's not real if you're German. It's not real if you're Asian. It's not real if you're Polynesian. It can be considered a little bit real if you're Mexican, because how many things have we stolen from Latina and Latin cultures in general? But no, just no. Especially if you live here in America. If you live in America, you're part of the great fucking melting pot. Deal with it. Just fucking deal with it.
She's been doing.
Because unless you're about to just go off to a commune, and you're gonna either, if you're black, create a Pan-African woke Hotep diatribe culture, so you can guarantee that your children will be born 99.9999999% retarded, I don't care. Same thing for white, same thing for anyone who has this problem. Also, look at her fucking gums!
That's disturbing. I'm sorry.
Her lips are too big. I'm sorry, her lips are too big. They're wonderful lips, okay? The problem is that her face just literally doesn't have, like, resting bitch, okay? She just doesn't have a resting bitch face. And that's a detriment, because all I see is lips!
Consistently for a good 20-25 years. And unfortunately, she is a habitual offender. Or at least she was. Lately, she's just been doing, like, beautiful blonde woman with a red lip. Or actually, she's been appropriating Oklahoma redneck culture because she's dating Blake Shelton. But
dating Blake Shelton, having his child, I'm pretty sure they're married at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The most offensive stuff, hopefully, is behind her. I'm not even sure what made me think of this, I guess because I've been in nostalgia mode, but as I reviewed No Doubt and her own personal discography and the music videos, oh girl, it was bad. So that Tragic Kingdom album has Don't Speak, which I loved. It also has Just a Girl, which I also love. Gwen is out here looking young, in her little crop top and red lip, raging against the patriarchy, dancing around, but then you watch the video and it's like, what you got on there, Gwen? What's that on your forehead? Oh, it's a bindi. Bindis have spiritual significance for Hindus. Gwen Stefani, obviously, not Hindu. Here she is talking about why she first decided to adopt the bindi.
The bindi was actually inspired by Tony's mom. And so I would be at Tony's house and she would come down the stairs and she had her little bindi on and I started wearing them just for fun. And I think the Just a Girl video is one of the first times I really, after that I always wore one. But before that I would wear them here and there, you know, I thought it looked really cool. The idea of being this kind of like starlet but like a little Indian thing, you know, I don't know, don't ask me. And I remember my mom.
It sounds a lot like she did it for fun and then she just started incorporating it to her look because hell, why not?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound like racist appropriation to me.
But let's say that it is anyway. Let's be mad.
What are you gonna wear that for? And then after that, it was like, you know, you go to the mall and you could find your bindi kit. I just couldn't believe it.
So obviously, in 2019, we recognize that that is not appropriate, but you know.
Why? I'm just asking, why? What would be the reasons why it'd be inappropriate? Wearing a cultural signifier. I can think of a couple of excuses. You can't wear that because it's religiously important. Okay, but what if I partake of that religion? Well, you're not of that religion, so I can't be of that religion because I wasn't born there? Well, what if I converted? Well, it would be considered disrespectful. To whom? To the race that it came from. Why would it be disrespectful to them? They understand the cultural significance. They would just say, oh, that's weird. I've never seen a white person wear a bindi before. Small world. Small world. Hey, Habibi! Come and look at the white woman! There's, like, no problem here. Literally none. Unless you make it up.
Back in 95, 96, she was just using it as an accessory to match her kind of rockabilly vibes. And she did it a lot. The bindi is in the Don't Speak video.
I wouldn't say that a bindi goes along with the rockabilly vibes, especially unless people know what rockabilly means. So, that's a subgenre of rock and roll, specifically American South rock and roll. We're talking rhythm and blues, white women, hair bands, rolled up looks, the whole shebang-a-bang. So we're talking shit like this. And shit like this. And shit like this. and shit like this. So unless you looked like this, or this, or this, or this, or this, that would not be what the hell she's talking about. It's not like early 50s goth. It's more like, you know grunge before grunge became grunge? Like that.
No.
Like that. Like before you specifically wore a plaid skirt because plaid skirts were cool. This would have been in the American South the idea of wearing an entire outfit that it's like, damn, look at Luann! It's something that you notice when you first see it. A couple of mutuals on Twitter dress like this occasionally. One of them being a nurse. It's just a great look.
The Spiderwebs video, it's in the Excuse Me Mr. video, like that was her thing.
If that was her thing, that means she made it part of her brand. And at that point, it's not something you can complain about. Because what would be the point? It's part of her brand. My mother's screaming for me to come get food because she still didn't understand that I'm streaming. Stop yelling, and also I'm still streaming. Okay? Put it in a bag. I don't have any. Bag that came in? The bag that came in. Bag is trash and you trash can. Alright then, that's big then. Ugh. Pain.
She even did interviews wearing this. I mean, full on henna, full on saris, bindi. I mean, come on, girl. Like,
She's in India.
It literally says right fucking there. Oh, girl, you know. Oh, nigga, you gay.
you're doing a whole lot. It's a lot, Gwen. But as bad as that is,
She
am I
was in
going to
India,
cancel Tragic
dipshit.
Kingdom? No, I am not. Then she collaborated with Moby for Southside in 1999. Now look, Moby is another person who is very lucky he came out when he did, because today his career would be donezo from jump. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look at the songs that he sampled on his huge album Play. Like, that's not okay. In this Southside video, Gwen
I don't know what you're talking about. What the fuck? Explain a little bit of what the fuck you're trying to say. Like, what are you talking? If Moby was out state, like, okay, what are you talking about?
I can only assume, because she's not going to explain, because why would she? That would make it more clear. I'm going to assume it's one of two things. One, he sampled songs from indigenous people, or he sampled songs from black people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Either one wouldn't matter, because that means his music was influenced by our culture! And you're gonna have to be really hard-pressed to convince me on how that's a problem. Is he not supposed to be influenced by the ha-ha funny black people? No whites in our music, Is that it? It has to remain untainted?
Segregation!
Braided hairstyles and gold and acrylic nails and all that. It's what back then the white stylists called it ghetto fabulous. Then we move into
Well, that's because the stylists of Hollywood are unironically racist, but not in the way that you'd think when you use the word racist. It's kind of like when... Well, actually, it's kind of like when Beyonce did exactly that, despite the fact that she's not Pan-African. Wearing an African headdress while pregnant on stage, or all the times that she chose to use tribal garb in music videos when she was dancing, especially for Deja Vu. Is he like that? It's like that, ain't it? Like, almost every single fucking musician has done that at some point. You'd have to accuse everybody of that, including Michael Jackson. And yet, ain't nobody...
Acrylic nails are not as specifically black. Like people, like white women, like white trash women wear that shit too. So I don't know what the hell
True. Like, this is shit that people do now. That's like the standard nail that you can get from any normal fucking nail joint.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, somehow, I'm supposed to believe that because she wore something of a different culture, or of a different kind of culture from a different period of time, that makes her evil. Bitch, you're gonna have to come after Michael Jackson in his grave for Remember the Time. Just saying.
the Return of Saturn era, and that's when I really got on the No Doubt train. That's when I was really on the Gwen train. She came out with that shocking pink hair. I remember at one point she had braces. Like, this was before Return of Saturn came out, but like she was out in public with that shocking pink hair and she had braces, and I was like, oh my God, how cool. She has braces and I have braces. But anyways, I loved the video for Ex-Girlfriend. It was directed by Hype Williams. But, you know, Gwen made some choices in that video. She was wearing the shocking pink plaits in her hair and the, you know, really skinny chola eyebrows. And we know that those are chola eyebrows because she even went so far as to put the teardrops under her eye. And it's like, sis, what are you doing? She also wore bantu.
Are we trying to say that gang-related tattoos are part of Latin culture and that she should stay away from that? Technically, Latinos should stay away from that shit too. Because if you know what it means,
Latinos should stay away from it.
Should be staying away from it.
Blacks should stay away from it. Whites should stay away from it. Russians should stay away from it. just segregate all the gangs from their cultures. Just remove them. They're criminals. You can't have those things. Why would that be entrained into the urban city environment from where they came from? It's not like she lives around them. It's not like it would influence what she saw and what would experience at this point in time. You know, not like it influenced the music or the fashion. Fuck. What are you talking about? It's not how things work here. Also, bullshit. It's fucking iconic. That's why she chose to do it. It looked good. I'm not hearing reasonings outside of I didn't like it. That's all I'm hearing right now. She did a thing, and I didn't like it. That's it. Till she says something of substance, I don't give a shit.
Knots in that video. It's obviously appropriation, but she looked fucking sick.
Okay, now you said something that's fucking annoying.
Back and forth with your ass.
She did a thing, and I didn't like it. But she looked good doing it. It cannot be one. It can't be both. It's one or the other. She did a thing and I didn't like it, or she did a thing and I liked it. If you go, I didn't like it, but she looked good doing it, you're just saying that you would rather she hadn't done it. Because you don't want to have to confront yourself because you don't like seeing cultural art being used by someone who's not of the skin color you think should have the privilege and the right to do it. And that's 2 steps away from racism.
The looks were sickening. I'm not canceling Ex-Girlfriend either. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I know that it's okay if you're mad. Then we get the video for another song I love, Simple Kind of Life, where Gwen is just normal, you know, running through the streets in a beautiful wedding gown. And it's like a completely cool, chill video until we get to the end.
A woman with crazy, unkempt hair running around the streets in a wedding gown is normal to you. Well, that would be normal, wouldn't it?
I think she means normal in a sense that it's not racist.
I don't know. Don't you think it looks racist to monsters? You know, stereotypes? Non-existent people? Troll dolls! It's racist to troll dolls. Don't you know, fictional characters have feelings too.
She picks up a...
Also, are you sure it's not racist? She's a white woman picking up a black child. She's taking on a
black child. It's like it's an Indian child, I think.
I
think it's supposed to represent the child she would have had with the ex-boyfriend who she's in the band with.
Either way, she's picking up a child that does not have white skin, therefore racism.
Brown baby? What? Where did the brown baby come from? And then the thing is, like, it's not just a brown baby. It's supposed to be like a mythical, magical brown baby. It's like, okay, well, that's not right. Then we get to the Rocksteady era, which is like 2001, 2002. That's where we get Jamaican Gwen, where they're collaborating with the dance hall artist and the reggae artist.
Because it's the culture of the time. People are allowed to change their fucking closets.
We're wearing the red, the yellow, and the black. To recap, we've had Indian Gwen, we've had Black American Gwen, we've had Chola Gwen, Latina Gwen, we've had Jamaican Gwen, but the worst by far was yet to come. The Lamb era was egregious. Gwen, being the style icon that she was, came out with her fashion line, LAMB. She says
fashion icon. In the same video, she's complaining about cultural appropriation of fashion. Take the wheel.
Angel Music Baby around the same time as her first solo album, and there were jams. There were so many jams. She would dress up in these kind of whimsical Alice in Wonderland outfits, and they were kind of sexy, but they were really cute, and she loved Vivienne Westwood at the time and John Galliano, like that was her thing. But she would always, in this era, be flanked by 4 Japanese girls. She called them the Harajuku girls after a little district in Japan.
Girls.
These girls were just there.
Harajuku. And also that means that they are both entourage and dancers. If they were dancers at all. It's not necessary if they were. They are part of the act. Ergo, their job is to sit there and do their job. And their job was to be present. You saw them, they were noticed. Job done. How is this a problem of Gwen's fashion? If you want to talk about people appropriating Harajuku Barbie fashion, you want to talk about Nicki Minaj? Because I would love to talk about Nicki Minaj. But it's not a problem for Nicki Minaj either. That was her brand. It's half the reason why Montero didn't come out as a Barbie. Because he did not think that if he did so, he'd be able to make it as an artist on his own, because he thought it was something to be ashamed of. I don't know if it's because he was gay or because people just don't like Nicki Minaj, but one of the two or the other. But this is not a problem of fucking Gwen Stefani.
They never spoke. We never heard from them. They were just silent in the background. Sometimes they danced, but generally, they were just there. And it was weird. She treated these girls like dolls.
Probably because it's part of the act while in front of the camera.
saying about dressing them up and how cool she thought they were, and she talked about, ooh, that's so kawaii and all of this stuff, and it's like, as an adult, I'm like, girl, because Gwen was like 35 at this time. It's so offensive. You didn't.
Who is it offensive to other than you? She's not saying who's offensive to. She's not demonstrating examples where offense was shown by people outside of this nebulous fan base.
See anything wrong with the fact that you're dragging these women around like they're props? They never open their mouths, and then
You know
they
damn well
are
they were being
props!
paid well.
And it doesn't matter!
You know damn well they were being paid handsomely for their time. Get the fuck out of here. They were being paid well, and you fucking know it.
The time they're dressed up in these little Japanese schoolgirl outfits, which is like really weird and kind of porn-like. And another thing as an adult that is weird to me is
schoolgirl outfits. No, not even schoolgirl outfits. Just normal parochial school outfits. That's not how you spell parochial, but I can't be bothered. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, 1, exclamation point, 1, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, 1. That way you know we're super serial!
we still have an issue with the outsourcing of white supremacist images globally. You know, like
An outsourcing of white supremacist images globally. Is this that tragedy that is this that worldwide tragedy that Extra Credits was talking about that takes lives every day? The worldwide tragedy of people wearing white supremacist outfits? Please tell me you have some examples. Please tell me you have some examples.
different parts of the world. So a thin white woman with blonde hair being in the middle of these 4 Japanese girls who are flanking her, like, that just, it looks really, it sends really bad messages. It's bad when Gwen is still the ideal in many parts of the world. You know, it's something that needed to be considered. What's really interesting to me is sometimes the Harajuku girls, sometimes they wore those very stereotypical uniforms, but then sometimes they dressed up kind of like black. Like, in the Holla Back Girl video, the Harajuku girls were wearing, you know, we would call it now athleisure wear, and one of them would have...
So, inner city fashion. That is what we call it. We call it urban apparel. How do you go to Harvard and you don't know these concepts? Excuse me. How did you go to Harvard and you do not know these concepts? Because she fucking flunked out. I'm still missing how this is a problem with Gwen Stefani. She chose to wear outfits of urban apparel in a video about being a hollaback girl. So she either doesn't know what hollaback girl means, or this is just still more bitching about nothing.
An afro, and then some of them would have cornrows, and it was a Japanese interpretation of Black American culture, kind of like what Ariana...
No, it would have been actual Japanese interpretation of American culture with a Japanese style. Because urban apparel in Japan is worn with all of those hairstyles. They do wild shit. They do absolutely wild shit with their fucking hair, man. That's not even mentioning gongoros. It's not even mentioning gyros. It's not mentioning tanned Asians, whether they choose to tan naturally or they tan in tanning beds. It's an entirely different view of how a person would look at skin tone, skin color, and cultural appropriation in terms of a Eastern culture devouring a Western culture. And that's not even mentioning South Korea, which is the hyper consumerism of America turned up to 11 because South Korea has not had proper culture because they separated from North Korea. So they dove in head first and said, let's do everything the Americans are doing. And that's why we have K-pop. They took rap and they made it their own. And now we continue to suffer because of it.
Grande did in her Seven Rings video.
Oh, that's really great that she chose to bring up Ariana Grande. Do we want to talk about cultural appropriation from Ariana Grande? Because that's an Italian woman who's tan, who has been accused of being someone who wanted to be black because of the fact that she had tan skin. And all the fashion that goes along with the people she chose to collaborate with. It just so happens to be that a lot of the artists are black. It's not because she's trying to be black. It just happens to be that's what's happening. Does anybody want to accuse her of these things? How about Charlie XCS? How about Amethyst Azalea, better known by the name Iggy Azalea? How about her? How about an Australian woman trying to be black and dressing in that fashion? No, not at all. Even if she's a rapper? All right then, shut up.
Actually, there's a lot of similarities, but we don't have time to get into that. But Ariana...
We ain't got time to get into it because if you talked about it, you look like a fucking asshole.
Grande and Gwen Stefani are doing similar things.
She's making me hungry for chicken, Jay. I'm about to stress eat.
But anyways, Holla Back Girl was my shit. It's everyone's shit. It was a very, very popular song. I don't really care, as I've said before, about non-black people wearing braids and afros and all of that.
Also, hi, TK. I haven't seen you in a bit. I've missed you, my son.
Stuff. I think it's troubling when it becomes a pattern, and I think it is disconcerting when it becomes a means to make money. Like, that's when I become concerned, and that's when I become very offended. But I will say, the stuff that she did to Japanese people, Japanese women, and Japanese culture is like beyond. It's beyond the pale. Look, at one point,
she paid women to walk around her.
Branded camera
Racist.
that had Harajuku or whatever on it in Japanese, sold in partnership with Gwen Stefani. Now, how you gonna sell Harajuku culture, Gwen? You can't do that. And I also remember...
Yes, you can. It's called branding. you see, you find a person who creates the object, and then you partner with them, so your name's on it, but it's actually their product, and then you sell it. That's how you do it. Rich people do it all the time. What do you think Versace is? What do you think Gucci is? What do you think Louis Vuitton is? You're paying for overpriced brands of regional fashions from places like France and Italy because you were told that the best thing you could be is someone who copies the Balenciaga look. But do you even know what the Balenciaga look is without having to look it up? Probably not. But you've probably seen it all over old fucking Hollywood. And yet, somehow, if by the same degree we were to take that and compare it to this, do you know how many Audrey Hepburn films we'd have to cancel? Almost all of them. And like maybe also Casablanca. And The Big Sleep. Anything with Veronica Lake in it, basically. Like old Hollywood, it would just disappear. It would just fucking disappear.
There being so much branded stuff in Target, like perfume and accessories and clothes. How are you selling this Japanese culture? At the time when all of this was going on, I was 14, 15. I was still in high school, and I was woke, but not where I am now. And I remember at the...
And now we get to the culprit. Please, do tell about your wokeness.
I'm thinking, well, that's a little weird, but I just didn't have the tools or the knowledge to really break it down. But there were people who were pushing back, and one of those was Margaret Cho. Margaret Cho, back in 2005, wrote a really interesting blog post calling Gwen out for this.
A comedian wrote a blog post to bitch at an artist Because how dare you wear my fashion? The correct response would be, bitch, stay mad. Lamau, ... smiley face, winky face, XOXOXOXO.
And she said, you can't just tote around for non-speaking Japanese girls. She actually compared it to minstrelsy. She compared...
Of course she did! Because paying for women to dress a certain way for your concerts and tours is exactly like keeping men mocking the lifestyle and intelligence of a slave class! That's exactly what it's like! Mild or spicy, Jay?
Mild.
No, I'm getting spicy.
Don't do this to yourself, Carl.
I'm hungry and I haven't eaten.
Sweet, that'll make you happy.
What'll make me happy is a blowjob. But unfortunately, I don't have blowjob material. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna eat bovine ass! And the chest of avian fowl!
to blackface. And now usually when people compare stuff to blackface, to black people's very unique struggles in the United States, I'm like, girl, try again. But I got it. I got it, and I understood what Margaret Cho was saying, and it's so...
No, you didn't. Because you should have had the reaction I just had. 4 people entering into a contract obligation with an artist for a career, for a tour, is not comparable to people using a technique of storytelling because of the fact that they want to use the race that they are mimicking and appearing as on stage as both the joke, the vehicle, the delivery of the joke, and the punchline. That is not what it's like. And you are not living in 1910 times. So, you're not even getting minstrelsy correct. Because minstrelsy would require you to be doing it to make fun of the race. How are they making fun of the race if these Asian women are doing their fucking job? Are we mocking Asians' ability to work and do things on time? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Unfortunate that didn't become a bigger deal, and I think that it didn't become a bigger deal back then because we did not have social media. I have issues with social media today, but
we did not have people overreacting over things and having a
gives minorities, gives people of color the opportunity to speak back meaningfully and be heard. Now, I don't know what was going on in Gwen's mind at the time. She probably thought that she was doing them a favor, that she was spotlighting the culture, that she was just doing something cool and good. I've heard her say, she just wanted to pay girls to hang out with her because she was around men so much. And it's like, And now, so many people have...
What's that? An artist took constant notice and took agency in themselves and said, you know what? I hang out with a lot of men. You know what I should have? A female entourage. Who should I hire, though? Should I hire black women? I don't know about that. I might be called a racist for keeping a bunch of coons around myself. Who do you... should I get Latinas? No. I already appropriated the style from my last album. I can't do that. I might get stabbed. I know! Ding, 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 ding.
Written about this and talked about it. I mean, obviously, it should go without saying that you cannot use ethnicities as props. You know, like, it's not just decoration or, you know, some spice that you add into your aesthetic. When I was doing research for this video, I found out, surprisingly, that the Harajuku thing didn't die in 2005 or 2006 or whatever. Gwen actually had a Harajuku themed cartoon on Nickelodeon in 2016. Now look, in 2005, there's an excuse. In 2016? And nobody at Nickelodeon said this is problematic.
Nobody at Nickelodeon also told Rob Dyrdek no when he wanted to make Little Riders. They ate that shit up with a goddamn happy smile.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Wild Grinders was a cartoon he put together while he was working on Rob Dyrdek Fantasy Factory. Specifically, storyboarded and came up with the idea while doing Rob Dyrdek Fantasy Factory. Because he wanted to have fun, and he thought, why not make a cartoon? It's the reason why we're now haunted by Steel O'Brim and Chanel West Coast. That's the black woman and the white woman. Or, excuse me, the black man and the white woman in his entourage. It was okay.
Also, it's over. Girl, let it go. What's interesting...
You know what's also over? That show. Because it's not 2016 anymore. I think it only lasted about 1 or 2 seasons. Why do you care so goddamn much?
About that era is she didn't just step into the Japanese culture. If you go back and look at other videos of that time, like the Luxurious video is her bringing the Harajuku girls into her ripoff of Latina culture, of Chola culture. It's crazy.
Her ripoff of the culture. You know, not just being outside at a party and fucking dancing to the music. No. We're stealing culture by dancing.
I'm telling you, you can make some pretty awesome thumbnails out of these screenshots.
I'm ordering large Cajun fries. Also, look at this woman's face.
I know, I just said you could make like some bomb-ass thumbnails out of these screenshots.
I thought you were talking about me.
No, nigga.
Okay.
I mean, well, partially, yes. I mean, yeah, like adding your face, adding your like distressed face, in response to like their insanity. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
Would you like to make the thumbnail for these 2 videos, Jay?
I guess you're gonna have to come up with the screenshots though.
Okay.
Because I'm just doing like low tech, low res bullshit right now. You just come up with the clips, and then I'll put it together.
Here's your first one.
It needs to be in HD, damn it.
See, you say HD. It's like
HD.
Zoom
Why
in. What you mean? Why am I not what?
But no, I said they have to be in HD.
Okay. I'll
I
find
think
that
I-
exact second on the clip, and then I will send you a sucking 720. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think I can work with this despite the thing being in the way.
These bitches zoom the fuck in. All you gotta do is cut me out.
I know, that's what I said. I said I can work with this despite the thing being in the way.
Okay, fine.
The way that she bit Latina/Chola culture is the hair, is the eyebrows, is the clothes, it's the
Straight hair is Chola culture?
And isn't she from LA? Gwen Stefani?
Yes.
Well, of course she would pick up on this shit. She grew up with it. Sort of. She grew up around it, at least.
It depends on what side of sunshit she was on.
Hang on, let me look it up.
The roads of
Gwen-
Sunset Boulevard?
Gwen Stefani, hometown. Damn it. Fullerton, California. Okay, where is Fullerton, California?
Rich people country.
Like, is it?
A little bit. Upper middle class. At least of what I remember.
Okay, it's located in northern Orange County.
Upper middle class.
Yep.
I think that's north of fucking Sunset. I forget directions. But yeah, upper middle class girl lives in a urban jungle, takes notice of fashion that she's interested in. I don't see what the problem here is.
Mary Magdalene, you know, the Catholic imagery, and then
Okay, no, Cap,
girls
Cap,
into her ripoff of Latino culture, of Chola culture. It's crazy. In that video, it is so freaking flagrant the way that she bit Latina/Chola culture. It's the hair, it's the eyebrows, it's the clothes, it's the Mary Magdalene, you know, the
The only way you could call this Chola culture is that you would have to call it biting Latin culture, because of the fact that this would be how gangsters would dress. That would be what would make it Chola or Chola culture. That, and only that. And what the fuck makes you think that that's Mary Magdalene? What the fuck was that supposed to represent? I'm so fucking lost. Not even using the correct fucking words.
Catholic imagery. And then girl had the nerve to be running around barefoot in a room full of piñatas.
Ah, man, because, you know, the real racism started when she was walking around barefoot with her toes out, amongst all those candy presents. Yeah, that was when the real racism started. Mm-hmm. I agree. Absolutely.
Next level absurd. And you know what? I'd argue that the best video from Love Angel Music Baby is the one where there's no appropriation. Cool is Gwen's best video by far, easily the best video from that album, like beautiful. Shout out to Sophie Muller. And
yeah, the one where she's wearing rockabilly culture and style and colors and hair. That one. The one inspired from American South. That one. The one that you say has none in it that absolutely has some in it. You fucking retard.
Also continued the theme of keeping, you know, silent Japanese women around her for her second solo album, which, you know, was kind of, it didn't do as well, but it was okay. It had a couple of good songs. So that ended the Gwen Stefani solo years. No Doubt got back together a few years later and they released new music, and they released a new video for a song called Lookin' Hot in 2012. Now, for us No Doubt fans, yay, you're back together, because we were afraid that they were never going to get back together, girl, because that's usually what happens when somebody goes solo, but they were
I know, she went to Harvard. She flunked out of Harvard.
back together, they were making new music, everything was cool, until we saw the video. So the video for Looking Hot was, it had a Cowboys and Indians theme, which... okay, so Gwen Stefani was dressed up as a Native American with headdress and, you know, a little skimpy outfit and all of that. And I think another member of the band, maybe Tony, was dressed up as an Indian. But then the two other members of the band were cowboys, and it was basically them just doing, you know, John Wayne cosplay and like riding around in the Wild West. And
because how dare they use a concept for a music video and then use it just as costumes. They need to become fully Native American, and they need to become fully Wild Western frontiersmen. That's what they needed to do. They needed to hog tie her, and then also have their way with her for 2 hours at a time, and then bludgeon her in the head with a tomahawk.
in their teepees and all of that. And it's just like, come on now. We've had social media for years by now, and obviously as soon as that video came out, there was a huge outcry. There was so much pushback that they had that video wiped from the internet. I actually found a copy of it on like Vimeo or something, but they had to take it down. They apologized. They said that they had consulted
Bitch made.
with Native American experts or something, and they were so embarrassed. And it's just like, I cannot believe that they did that again, because by the time that happened,
What was the name of that
they
video
were all
again?
in their 40s. When somebody goes solo, but they were back together, they were making new music, everything was cool until we saw the video. So the video for Looking Hot.
Looking Hot.
Okay.
Come on now. We've had social media for years by now, and obviously as soon as that video came out, there was a huge outcry. There was so much pushback that they had that video wiped from the internet. I actually found a copy of it on like Vimeo or something, but they had to take it down. They apologized. They said that they had consulted with Native American experts or something, and they were so embarrassed. And it's just like, I cannot believe that they did that again, because by the time that happened, they were all in their 40s. I don't know what No Doubt is doing, but Gwen is still pretty visible, and she still releases music, and we see her on TV, and she hasn't done anything really offensive except date Blake Shelton. But other than that, she's just like a cute mom of 3 boys. And I guess the question is, what should she do? I think it's really problematic.
Whatever the fuck she wants, because she doesn't have to listen to people like you.
It's really an issue for me that
Why? Also go fuck yourself.
she hasn't ever acknowledged the fact that over a 20-year career that she's done some stuff that is really wrong and really offensive.
Sounds like when people tried to attack her about it, she did acknowledge it and then called it out and then also removed it. But that's not good enough for you now, is it, you dumbass?
And it wouldn't hurt her to say at this point, I heard ya, I'm sorry.
Would it matter? Because when they did that, you're still harping about it in a video. So clearly it's not good enough.
You know, I should have let the Harajuku girls speak. Or I shouldn't have had Harajuku girls to begin with, you know? Or I wanted to celebrate this culture. I didn't know how to do it. I did it in a wrong way. It would really behoove her, I think, to just acknowledge that, and she wouldn't lose anything. And honestly,
She wouldn't lose anything for doing it, and she also wouldn't lose anything for not doing it, because she doesn't have to give a damn. Probably fucking doesn't.
The video was apparently wiped from the internet, but I found it. It was the top result on YouTube.
Yeah.
It just got re-uploaded in February.
Yeah.
she would gain just a lot of points by just saying, like, I know I came off as, you know, an entitled, spoiled white woman, and I don't want to be that. She's not going to. She's never been political like that.
She's never been political like that, so why would she start doing it by then being political in the action of being affronted and then groveling to people who want only one thing from her, and that's control of her messaging. From a business standpoint and from a creative standpoint, both of those are bitch-made. So, you have to go suck an egg.
She's avoided doing it for the past 15 years, like, she's not going to change now. And I decided to do this because it's just fun to...
So why did you make this video then? To call it out. To point out that it happened. What was the point? Was it fun? You find it fun upsetting yourself? I know it can be sometimes fun to upset myself, but those things are things that everybody can laugh at. I'm not laughing! I wish I could laugh, but I look at her face and I just think of a couple of my fucking English teachers. That's all I can think of. One in particular I'm thinking of right now.
Back over music videos and images from when you were a kid and when you were a teenager. Like, that's just fun. But also, it is possible to metabolize that nostalgia, synthesize those really fond feelings, but also navigate the messiness of it all. And I'm not trying to ignore the messiness.
You certainly are. Because all you care about is the things that upset you, that you can't do anything about.
Some real bad, offensive offensive stuff in there. I can work through it and acknowledge the issues without trying to erase that stuff or pretend like I don't still love that stuff and deeply enjoy that art. I think a problem
So by the progressive stacks rules, that makes you equally as problematic as she is, and you should be destroyed. Good job.
we have in trying to work through our love and appreciation of stuff that is made by people who are racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, violent, abusive, right? Is we think that liking the art, liking the product is a personal condemnation of who we are, who we see ourselves as. It makes us a hypocrite. And maybe it does make you a hypocrite, but most of us are hypocrites in some form. Life is messy. And I think our culture really suffers from an inability to recognize that stuff, to recognize that tension. Because I think that when we are unable to recognize that tension, it forces us into defending the bad stuff. When I see people defending Bill Cosby and defending R. Kelly and defending Michael Jackson, in my mind...
Keep in mind, she made this before all of the trials now made all of the evidence necessary and the grounds for what Leaving Neverland was based on to be fucking bullshit. So, this is more her being a trend chaser and a dick rider than it is her being fully deep in the bullshit. Still stupid, still mockable, still dumb.
I think there's no way in your rational mind you don't think that these people did it. Like, I don't believe that, right?
Considering the fact that on multiple occasions where Michael Jackson could have been able to molest not only his immediate family, his children, but also his fans, yeah, I'm gonna have to believe that man was innocent as shit, because he was way too nice. Way too nice. Just way too nice. Because we knew he fucked women. Shit, Teddy Riley knew he fucked women. He was in the goddamn car with them. He could hear the smacking. So could his security. Every single testimony given by his family and friends. Fucking Lisa Marie Presley of all people. Yeah, that man is... yes, clearly he's a pedophile from all the fucking cooch he is railing. He is as gay as Prince.
I think that it is so... We're so attached to the products that even acknowledging that the makers of those products are flawed will like fuck up our whole reality. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Tell that to Disney.
A lot of the artists that we love were bad to horrible as human beings. But most of us are not going to go through our lives meticulously and through our favorites and our loves and our joys and pleasures and like pick things off. We're just not gonna do that. So we gotta find a way to deal with it productively. You can love things and still live in reality, you know? You can love things and say, "Nah, girl, do better." Or, "Man, what are you doing? Like, why? Why are you doing, like, you're bad or you're wrong."
So socially bully people until they conform to your standards by your lackluster and flippant degrees of consensus until they are following exactly what they're told to do. You have to go fuck yourself, lady.
Or that's gross. All of that stuff can happen. And I just don't know if we're doing enough to facilitate living in that space. Because most of us live there. You know, whether you want to admit it or not, most of us are living there. So like, what are...
There's where the wokeness starts to go on repeat. She has to find ways to say, "I'm right, you're wrong." But she can't just say it overtly. So instead, you have to bring out rhetoric like, "We're all living in that space of racism." That's the subtext there. We're all living in a space of racism, and it's just time for you to recognize it.
What are you gonna do about it? I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm not Sway. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's really all I have to say about that. Over on Patreon, on the latest video I talked about Jess is hilarious.
I'm hearing an echo effect in her video, and I know that it's not you.
It's the video. See?
That's what I said. I know that it's not you.
I know, like it's her.
Why did she edit this like this? Why did she edit this like this?
I don't know.
About that Maya Angelou clip that is circulating, and I also talked about a question I got about how do you have friendships with people who don't have your exact same politics. So
simple. You become friends about the things that you agree with them about, and not the things that you disagree with them about, or things that have nothing to do with politics in general. It ain't hard, bitch. It ain't hard.
go over there to watch that. Obviously,
you need to make a fucking Patreon special.
Every single patron.
You need to make a Patreon special for you to be able to understand how to relate to other human beings without politics. The lights are on, but nobody's home.
Find a way to private message me if you can figure out how to do that. Good for you. Buy some merch. Sign up for the email newsletter. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time.
These are channels that are successful over me. I'm disappointed. In myself, in the world, in these people, in their brain capacity, in everything. I'm upset in everything. Everything. Everyone defended him. He was probably also a eunuch. Do you mean Michael Jackson? No. Michael Jackson fucked. He fucked.